In this video training, we train on efficiency and effectively how to solve problems. And so the whole topic here, it's on problem solving. And we look at a few examples, right? Let's say the problem is appointment no-shows. What could be the possible cause? There was no reminder that perhaps took place. You didn't follow up on the client. And possible solution, appointment reminders should always be the day before. As a practice, you need to be doing 20 recalls a day. Confirm benefits way before patients come to the practice. What we mean by recalls, in your system, the challenge with many optometric practices is that they just send out reminders that you're due for an eye examination. They're not saying, wait a minute, I'm doing recalls to 20 people today, right? In those 20 people, they're all different types of people. Someone came to the practice only once. Someone came to the practice 2 times before and they were unhappy. Others have been coming to the practice very satisfied with the service that they were getting, and it's now the 10th time over a 10-year period that they're coming to the practice. How then can you think that a simple text message reminding them of their appointment will be enough for that particular individual? It makes absolutely no sense. You need to know the consumers. You need to know that, wait a minute, we have communicated with this person before, and so they were not happy. We had a bad experience with this particular individual. So receiving a text message is not going to be enough for this particular individual. So pick up the phone, call. Ntate Nkosi, this is so-and-so from this practice, and we noticed on our system that you are due for an eye exam. So I picked up that the last time you were here, you are not satisfied with the following, and so we look forward to seeing you again so that we can exceed the expectations and bring them to the level at which it's supposed to be again. So you're giving that person reassurance that you know that you dropped the ball last time and you are here to make sure that you're picking that ball up and taking him to the next level. That's what you do. So you cannot just be sending messages to people randomly. If people have booked their appointments, right, and they don't show up, and you can see that, okay, you did follow up, a reminder was done, and so follow up, ask the person, when can we reschedule your appointment again? That's how you communicate. And a person says, no, I'll give you a call again. Great. Don't push, don't be too pushy, but make sure that people that have made their appointments, you have reminded them. And if it's a person who makes their appointment for the first time and you don't have any other details, ask, hi, would you prefer us checking your medical aid and everything way in advance so that when you come here, we can make the whole process as smoothly? Yes, no problem. You can go ahead. So can you just send us an email with the details so that you're showing them that, look, when the time they come here, the focus should be on the problem that they have. Whatever that can be done beforehand, let it be done beforehand. A person has been coming to your practice for the last 4 years. They're making an appointment. Make sure that you can, on the phone already, confirm whatever that you need to be confirming pertaining to the details. And everything's still the same. So that when they come to the practice, they can see that you are well prepared and ready to receive them. A problem here could be delayed jobs. It could be problems with the lab, challenges, not ordering on time, over-promising time frames, right? Something that happens a lot in optometric practices. The solution, always call the consumer before they call you. So if you can see that there's a problem that has risen, as it happens right then and there, identify a problem, identify potential solution, and communicate with the patient long before they communicate with you. Long before. Especially if patients show you already what they want from the time that they see you first. Someone will ask, when are my glasses going to be ready? And you say to them, they'll be ready in 4 days. And it's now day 2, and there's been no sign, activity, nothing happening. Follow up. That person, clearly, it's important for them when their glasses will be ready. And you can pick up from a person's energy whether they want their glasses here or not. So make sure that in 2 days' time, you're following up with the lab, right? Or depending on when you said the glasses will be ready. If it's 7 days, follow up halfway through. Make sure that you have followed up to make sure that if there is a problem, if there is a delay, you can immediately communicate with the patient well in advance. There's nothing worse than a patient who is expecting a particular type of service to then still be the one that communicates with the practice in asking where are their glasses? I was promised my glasses would be ready today, and now they're not. When you say to that patient, so let me check, where is it? And then you have to come and still say to them, sir, it looks like there was a delay at the lab. That's the worst thing you can do. That's the worst thing. You're losing that patient. You're losing the credibility. You're losing the trust. You're breaking that connection that the patient potentially had. And so always make sure that someone senior in the practice is handling that on a regular basis. You don't want to find yourself in a situation where you're not communicating with patients, customers, clients before they communicate with you. Incorrect order or change in script. This could be obviously a cause, could be refraction difficulties, anything pertaining to systemic problems or pathology related, or it was the wrong order, whatever it is. Take full responsibility and make sure that the consumer is aware that you're taking charge of the situation. Be clear on the financial implications, if any, that might exist, and set specific time frames. This must be done by the dispenser, lab technician, optometrist, someone who can actively reassure the patient on that level because it's pertaining to their vision. Follow up on the job daily and keep the consumer informed. There's nothing more irritating than a consumer who's expecting to hear from the practice and not hearing from the practice. And so that's one of the things that compromises service delivery. And so as part of problem solving, which is what we're talking about in this video, is you need to make sure that you are effectively communicating with the patients way before. You identify a potential problem there, get it communicated as quickly as you possibly can. Another example here, delayed contact lens orders. For example, it might be supplier challenges, not informing consumer of possible delays, over-promising, which is also a big one. And so make sure that you are able to have contingency plans in terms of, can you provide trials? Can you offer personal service delivery of the contact lenses? Can you compensate practice fault? What can you do to mitigate that? When people are frustrated, and you then as a practice say, and you sort of like abdicate the responsibility, and you're like, the lab, the contact lens company is out of stock, it's on back order, but you knew that it was on back order, or you didn't know because you didn't follow up when you were placing the order to say it's in back order, and you were told that from the onset. Make sure that you are constantly, especially with people that you can see that there's a problem, and the only way you can know that is on your files, have some form of like identification of types of scenarios. So red flags, put a particular sticker. That it can go either way. A person that is asking certain types of questions about the order and stuff like that, put a sticker so that we know on a day-to-day basis when we come into the practice that, hey, we need to constantly follow up on this. If you have to have a diary and you are writing at the top of the diary every day, check Mrs. So-and-so's job. The next day, check Mr. So-and-so's job, so that even if you are not there at the practice and someone else is there, they can see a big note at the top of the diary that, hey, this is something that is very important that we need to be following up on a day-to-day basis, because we don't want a situation where we now lose a client based on poor service delivery, which is the next one here. That results from staff incompetence. And so trace exactly what occurred whenever there's incompetence taking place, and train the team over and over and over again. Always communicate with the consumer. So whenever we're taking responsibility of a situation, never put blame on another staff member. Take the responsibility as a practice and make sure that the consumer is fully aware of what steps and measures are in place to fixing this problem and ensuring that which they need, they immediately get. Because you don't want lost sales opportunity, because if you're getting a lost sale opportunity, it means it's a poor sales execution. And that requires more sales training, and that means if you have to do it weekly, getting people trained on service delivery and sales and product knowledge, then you do it on a weekly basis. But you don't want to miss out on the opportunities that present itself with regards problem solving, because once you can solve a problem that you identify that here we're going to have a problem, communication commitment, responsibility taking, ownership mentality, attitude, work ethic. All those contribute to effectively solving problems. And if consumers can pick up those qualities and characteristics from the situation, you win them over still. You don't lose the patient, you don't lose the customer. You still winning them over, and they can still trust you because you are doing everything that you possibly can in ensuring that these characteristics that we've just mentioned are at play. So very, very important that you know how to effectively solve problems and discuss it amongst the team that this type of problem, this is how we go about it. This problem, this is how we go about it. If a scenario presents like itself as follows, this is how we can mitigate the situation. It cannot just all of a sudden, when the situation arises, now everyone is scrambling to figure out what's the next step. There has to be a protocol. And so one of the things that we highly recommend that you have as a practice is a standard operating procedures manual. What do you need to put in that manual? A step-by-step process of everything that is important in the practice. You follow this routine for this, you do this for this, you do this for that, and you follow that routine every single time with every single patient. No compromise on that. That's how you follow and you continue with that every single time.